For Your Misinformation is part of the Demcast family of podcasts. What's up, everybody? I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is For Your Misinformation, a podcast dedicated to empowering women to be more politically engaged so we can act in our own best interests.
Let us break down the problem and tell you what we're doing and what you can do to help solve it.
Okay. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Morgan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Settled into my new place. As you know,
yeah.
I was moving. I'm feeling pretty settled in. We have electricity here, which is great. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you had like a birthday, a move, a inland hurricane thing that destroyed much of Iowa. Actually, I mean, that storm, like, 6 hours away from you felt that storm. It wasn't as, like, obviously it didn't really, it did a decent amount of property damage here, but not like it did to you guys. I feel for you guys for sure.
It's been an eventful month.
I hope it gets easier for you.
Me too. It's 2020. Only time will tell. But I know we've got a crazy episode today. So
we do, and we're recording this one 8 days early. So who knows what's going to happen in that time? Besides, we know that the Democratic National Convention happened. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, there are 10 weeks until the election, which is 2.5 months. What the fuck? Or 71 days. So yeah, but what I would really like to tell you about today is QAnon and that Wayfair conspiracy that made it into the mainstream, and the larger idea of cancel culture.
Oh,
yes. So really, it's two separate stories, like the QAnon Wayfair thing, and then like I don't know, there's some other scary stuff going on. It has to do with the murder of Rayshard Brooks, who was murdered by Officer Garrett Rolfe back in June. If you remember, he was the black man who was sleeping in his car in a Wendy's parking lot who ended up being murdered by a police officer responding to the scene. His stepmom, the officer who murdered Rayshard Brooks, his stepmom has been in the news lately, and that's why I want to talk about cancel culture, because she got fired from her job, and she's acting like it's cancel culture, and it's not. She's just a bad employee. So I can't wait to tell you about her. And then the thing that, like, the terrifying thing that ties these stories together is Marjorie Taylor Green, who is a QAnon supporter who, side note, also violently opposes Black Lives Matter, who is from Georgia, who just recently won her runoff in last week or 2 weeks ago. And she's in like a very safe red district. So she is probably going to Congress. Like there's like 11 or 12 Republican nominees, but most of them are in like blue district. So it's not so scary. But this woman is in a very red district in Georgia. So like there's going to be a QAnon conspiracy in Congress, like in the House of Representatives.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's scary, because at first I feel like QAnon, it was like a laughable like thing, and now it's actually scary. And
yes, like looking into it, I thought this might actually be like a lighthearted episode, and now I'm like, this is both stupider and scarier than I thought somehow.
So many people have fallen for this. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear about it, but also probably should be drinking right now to handle it.
This might be the first episode that we're recording before noon. Oh man, it's 12:11. Never mind. Usually these are we record at nighttime. All right. So a lot of this information is from Judd Legum's newsletter, which is called Popular Information. It is excellent. Like every single week he blows my mind. So most of the info about the thoughts on cancel culture came from that newsletter, and I just thought it was really interesting. But I also read some articles from Vox and Slate and took a lot of the information about the Wayfair stuff from Reply All's most recent episode called The Mold and the Beautiful. So if any of those interest you, those are some deeper dives that are fun. So conspiracies in general. I don't know if you saw, there was a clip on Twitter that was, I'm supposed to be recording this video also, aren't I? Damn it. Why am I so bad at this? There we go. Okay. Sorry. Hi, everybody. Okay. So let's talk about conspiracies in general. I don't know if you saw that clip on Twitter that was like floating around. There was a woman at a Florida town hall named Christina Gomez. She doesn't specifically mention any QAnon conspiracy theories that I'm aware of, but there's like a lot of conspiracy theories in what she talks about, including that pandemic video, which like when you told me about that, I thought it was going to be like, oh, interesting, forget about it forever. And it's just like, oh my God, it's still causing problems.
Yeah, like with social media and stuff, which I'm not like one of those people that's gonna like blame all of our problems on social media. There's much bigger problems in our world today that don't have anything to do with social media. But yeah, like social media like gives so many of these people an audience, and like the pandemic video in the mid 90s, there probably would have been like a whole 24 people who would have been like, oh my goodness, this is a thing, and then they would have all just gone and started a little cult together, and that would have been the end of it, and everyone else would have been laughing at them. But yeah, these things are able to take root so much more now, and it's not good.
It's not. So listen to this woman. Her name's Christina Gomez. It's about a minute long. Listen to her talk at this Florida town hall. So that's terrifying to me because, like, I've never spoken at a town hall. That woman is more involved in local politics than I am. Like, she votes. You can almost guarantee it. And I find that very scary. Yeah. So make sure you're voting and everybody you know is voting.
Yeah, seriously. Like, we restrict voting from the absolute wrong people in this country.
Yes. All right. So let's talk, like, specifically about QAnon. That conspiracy theory started when people, somebody claiming that they had Q-level security clearance within the Trump administration started posting weird cryptic stuff on 4chan, which is just like a toxic corner of the internet that nobody really needs to go visit. So there's like one person who's tasked usually with like screenshotting that and bringing it over to Reddit, where they have like a QAnon subreddit. Actually, it may have gotten disbanded. I'm not really sure, but probably not. And the people in that subreddit, they call themselves the bakers, and they use Q's breadcrumbs to like concoct this story that is just so far-fetched. So yeah, it's one person or a group of people, I suppose, who posts weird ass shit, like cryptic, weird. I'll read a post later, but I'll read one now. Here's an example of a Q drop on 4chan from July 9th, 2019. Welcome to Epstein Island. Ask yourself, is this normal? What does a temple typically symbolize? What does an owl symbolize? Dark religion? Tunnels underneath? How many captured in Rachel Chandler's pic? Rooms indicate size. Hallways shown. Symbolism will be their downfall. These people are evil. That's it. Like,
oh my God, this is so many people the way they speak on Facebook. Ha, hell.
Yeah. So this is just like a typical Q drop stuff every once in a while. So that's like, those are some of the breadcrumbs that Q leaves, and then the bakers synthesize them and decide, like, come up with some kind of narrative that makes sense.
Well, it's smart because everyone wants to be fucking Nancy Drew and be like, I am the smartest person in the room and I can take all of these little things and put them together and make sense.
Yeah.
And that, because, you know, that's what I'm here for, and it's my special purpose, and I'm going to save the world by oh my God.
Yeah. Conspiracies are about, like, I was talking to Clark about it last night. They're about power and control, just like everything else is about power and control. But it's, so the theory, what they think is happening, what they think is really going on, is that the chaos that surrounds Donald Trump's presidency is just a cover, and that Trump actually has everything under control, that he is actually working in tandem with Robert Mueller, not being investigated by Robert Mueller, to take down thousands of pedophiles. So when you hear people say that the Russia investigation is a hoax, they're saying, oh, that's not real. They just have to pretend to be working together. Like, Mueller has to pretend to be investigating Trump, and the Russia stuff is a cover for that, because really what they're doing is working together to bring down, like, an elite cabal of pedophiles and criminals and child predators.
Okay, but our president is allegedly one of those predators.
But what they rationalize is that he has embedded himself in those communities to bring them down from the inside. So you and I jump to the logical conclusion, and also the accounts that fit with all of the accusers, which is, oh, he's a predator, he's a criminal, he's participating. And the QAnon people think, oh, he's the only person who can break this cult up, this like pedophile ring up. They think he's the only person who can do it because he's doing it from the inside, which is why he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well, because
and they think that this narcissist in chief, this absolutely just blatant imbecile who can't not say the quiet part out loud, is just successfully doing this, and instead of bragging and coming out about all the pedophiles that he's secretly about to unleash, like, and what?
My favorite thing that the way Clark puts it is, he's like, people act like Donald Trump is playing 10-dimensional chess when really he's just, like, eating the pieces. Like, the QAnon people think he's, like, 10 steps ahead when really he, but the QAnon theory benefits him, so he doesn't shut it down. Kayleigh McEnany doesn't shut it down. Like, they kind of, like, wink, and, like, they want the support. They need they don't care who they're getting it from.
No, because they don't care about anyone.
Right.
Any of us normal people, or just like average citizen. Oh my God. Okay. Well, great.
I know. I told you it was stupider and scarier than we thought.
Yeah.
So just as a reminder, like, Robert Mueller is not a hero. He is not coming to save us. Nobody is coming to save us. It would be very cool if they were. I would feel a lot better, but they are not. So we have to save ourselves. Like, Mueller already failed us. So if you have not found a community yet, join your local Indivisible or sister district or something like that and see what they need help with. The link is in our link tree to all of those resources. I mean, also, hi, hello, like, we are your community, but I think it's important for you to find a local community too. So make sure you're doing that also. Okay, so what do you remember about, like, the Wayfair thing from a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah. Like, they claimed children were being shipped all over the place as, like, sex slaves via Wayfair. Like, you were going to order a cabinet, but what actually showed up was a child.
Yes.
And, exactly. Somehow a bunch of celebrities were involved.
Yeah. So that was so it was not originally a QAnon conspiracy. Somebody posted on Reddit about it, but it was pretty quickly co-opted by QAnon. And it's significant because most of the time QAnon conspiracy theories don't break into the mainstream. So this one was kind of unique and scary. But, like, anyone who is any good at determining truth from fiction, like, figured out immediately that was just, like, total BS. But the QAnon people don't care because they're not, like, conspiracy theorists aren't influenced by facts or logic. So I don't know. I just see like the dumbest person that I went to high school with, like latching onto this to feel smart, you know, to just be like, you think the Russia investigation, it's like silly. It's actually Donald Trump is bringing down sex trafficking. It's like,
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
So people, like I said, who believe this conspiracy think he's fighting child trafficking from the inside. Why he has so many pedophile friends? Because of course, he's fighting child trafficking. But the heart of it comes down to they find comfort in the idea that Donald Trump is in complete control, which does sound nice. I really wish somebody was like, I trusted was taking care of shit, but it's not. It's like the least believable thing I've ever heard. And it's just like so funny to me because if I was going on like a road trip, I wouldn't even put him in charge of snacks.
No, absolutely not.
Let alone like breaking up a child pedophile ring.
It just makes them feel better.
Right.
To think that like somebody's got it under control. Just like it makes people who don't believe this stuff still feel better about believing that like we're going to have a hero, be it Robert Mueller or someone else, and it's just not reality. God, these people are so far removed from reality.
Yeah, that's true.
That's everything that's going on here. Holy hell. Okay, well, great.
And that's what makes QAnon and like Sandy Hook trutherism or any other conspiracy so difficult to combat, because they're not based on facts. They're not receptive to facts. So in their mind, they're protecting children from rape and murder when really they're just blindly supporting a wannabe dictator. And it's very scary how effective propaganda and conspiracy theories are. Because like as the Pizzagate incident in DC showed, that like when conspiracy theories break into the real world, they have real world consequences, and they can be super dangerous, especially at this like in this polarized political climate. So yeah. So the important point about conspiracy theories is just that they're not created by evidence. They're created by belief, or at least a desire to believe that there must be something more to the events that shape our lives, culture, and politics than accident or happenstance. So that's why people like conspiracy theories. I get it. Like,
right, and it gives their boring little lives so much more meaning if they believe these things.
That's actually a really good point, because a lot of them like see themselves as like the protagonist in a hero's journey. Like it's really interesting. I don't know. This was a really interesting episode to research. So like I said, I didn't understand before this. Like I heard people call the Russia investigation a hoax, but I didn't understand that the hoax was like, oh my gosh, silly, it's a hoax because it's covering up for one of the best things that could be going on, which is Donald Trump saving children from rape and murder. Okay. So they want to bring down a liberal ring of Hollywood elites, including Chrissy Teigen, Reese Witherspoon, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama in this child trafficking ring. I don't know if all the people who call it a hoax understand like what they're saying is that the Russia thing isn't real, because this thing is real. But when you hear hoax, like that's what they're talking about, which is alarming.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Trump didn't collude with Russia. They just have to pretend he did so that Mueller can keep worrying to arrest other pedophiles. And he and Trump are the only people who could possibly do it. We need them. So yeah. So while they piece this stuff together from these Q drops, like they for real think they're like the investigative journalists from Spotlight, which if you haven't seen yet, you should watch. It's on Netflix. But like they see themselves as like the investigative journalists, like Julie K. Brown, who really did some good work to bring justice to the Epstein victims, or Ronan Farrow, who did work to bring justice to the Harvey Weinstein victims, or Olga Lotman and Sarah Kendzior are both excellent journalists on like authoritarian Soviet state stuff. So they like those are the people I would look to, like clearly not conspiracy theorists who are just having trouble dealing with reality. But also, a Vox article that I read that looked at the data of the people who use Reddit and interact with QAnon subreddits, basically like the finding was that the users profile as men who enjoy feeling like they know more than everybody else. So like I said, it's about power and control. Like it's just...
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Anybody who's ever been on Reddit can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
Even if you're not like on QAnon things, but yeah.
Yeah. So they also looked at it. It was a really interesting article. It was Vox. I'm sure if you just search like Vox and QAnon conspiracy, like some stuff will come up. But this one specifically like broke down the data of like where those users spent their time, what subreddits they spent time in, and like the overlap between them. And there was like there was a lot of overlap between like gaming, misogyny, like men's rights activism, QAnon. It was very interesting, in case anybody wants to go look up some more stuff.
Interesting and so disappointing, yet not surprising.
Yeah. I guess the most hopeful thing that I'm not sure if this is hopeful or not is that like the bulk, I would say like a quarter of those comments in QAnon subreddits come from 200 users. Half of them come from a total of 1,000 users, and then the rest come from like a handful of other people. But it's really like a tight-knit group. I don't know if they're tight-knit, but like it's 200 people who are like in the thick of this QAnon stuff, who like consider themselves heroes. So I don't know if that makes you feel better or not. Like, it kind of makes me feel better that there's only 200 of them, but then at the same time, it's like, look at all the damage that like whoever Q has done with just this like small but really dedicated following.
Yeah, which like Q is just your average fucking troll.
Probably.
Only they just hit the right thing at the right time in the right way and are now playing all these people like yeah literally just a troll.
So back to the Wayfair thing. A non-QAnon person noticed that a couple weird things on Wayfair's website. Specifically, there were some like $10,000 pillows and some like $18,000 industrial cabinets that were really strong. So they were like really expensive. They were like reinforced. And those products had names like Maritza or like another female name.
Okay, but so many things have female names because we love naming products after women.
Yeah.
Because we see women as commodities. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway.
But hold on. There's more.
Boy. Okay. Of course there's more.
So they started looking through missing persons databases and finding people missing with these names. But again, all right. I see you're not convinced. There's more. They also found a recruiting manager at Wayfair named Rachel Chandler, and Epstein had an acquaintance named Rachel Chandler. Not important that they're two different Rachel Chandlers. Not the point. The point is that Chandler looks a lot like child handler. And now they're just like, oh my God, my brain has exploded. Everybody who does a job changes their last name to reflect their job description, obviously. Rachel Chandler is Jeffrey Epstein's child handler, and she works at Wayfair, and she's trafficking children. And that's the story. That's it.
No, probably Rachel Chandler's like ancestors were candle makers.
Right. But that's boring.
And now she works at Wayfair.
Right.
And has the same name as someone who knows Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. What the fuck? Okay.
So that was the Wayfair thing. Like literally, I think it takes up like three sentences on this page. It's very stupid. It took me like 2 minutes to research before I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. But it was a huge sensation. So, and it like I guess. Wayfair is probably pissed about it. They did have to put out a statement about it, which is so stupid. But I guess no real harm was caused this time around. But like real harm does come when conspiracy theories and like real life end up interacting.
Yeah.
So that's dumb. Okay, let's switch topics. Let's talk a little bit about Rayshard Brooks. So, like I said, man who fell asleep in his car in a Wendy's parking lot. The police were called to investigate and ended up shooting and killing him. So I'm not really sure in what world that man needs to be shot, in what world that man is a threat. But anyway, Officer Garrett Rolfe ended up shooting and killing him in June. So I just want to say, while I was watching that video, nobody had masks on. Like, the pandemic was in full swing in June. Like, why are you getting out of your car and like talking to people without a mask on? Like, I've been sitting in Clark's. There's like a little nook, and I can see the street, and that's where I've been writing most of these episodes. And I saw a police officer stop, get out of his car, and like talk to somebody who was blocking the road, and he didn't have a mask on. And it's like, guys, you're making people less safe. Like, there is more danger in you talking to people during a pandemic without protection than this guy is blocking the street. What are you doing? So, I don't know. Just frustrated all the time now. What else?
Oof.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure there was a more effective community resource that could have been called that would have resulted in maybe that guy getting home safely, because the reason he was asleep in his car is because he had his blood alcohol was too high, so he was doing the responsible thing by sleeping.
Literally just call a fucking taxi for this dude. Like, what
right.
the fuck?
Yeah. Like, there's a better solution to that, clearly. And maybe if we defunded the police and funded some of that stuff, we would have better outcomes. And by better outcomes, I mean we wouldn't be murdering Black people.
Love that journey for us,
right?
As a country.
Yeah. So I actually, like, this kind of got lost in like the shuffle, but Rolf he got fired and he got charged. So maybe things are getting better, but I want to talk specifically about his shitty stepmom, Melissa. So she was hired to work in HR at a new company in February. So pandemic's already happening. And she was really bad at her job. Like, within weeks of getting hired there were already complaints from coworkers about her making wildly inappropriate comments.
Ooh, that's not what you want in an HR person.
I know. Okay, why are all HR people like the worst people to be in HR?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I've never had an HR person that I've been like, I feel comfortable going to this person with this problem. Like, never.
So wow. Yeah,
Not
what
even
is going on with that?
I don't know. So
out here making Toby from The Office look like he's
a saint.
Like a saint and just the most competent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So one of the jokes that she made was about using rectal thermometers to take people's temperatures to monitor for COVID. Like, imagine the confidence to go into a job, like, you're new at a job, you're the HR person, and you're like, I'm gonna put a thermometer in your butt to test your temperature. And she's like, what? It's a joke. It's funny. And it's like,
also, like, it's not even funny. Like,
it's not.
Like, it's not even like hack funny. Like, it's not. Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow.
What else? There is so much more. I have more examples. Oh, here they are. Okay. So Rolf's former employer alleges that she repeatedly violated company policy and created an uncomfortable, hostile work environment. The complaint accuses Rolf of making hostile, sexual, and blatantly racist remarks, all of which allegedly took place prior to Garrett Rolf's shooting. So these are connected because she got fired pretty quickly after his shooting, and she was like, how dare you fire me for coming to the aid of my stepson who murdered a Black man? Why would I be fired for that? And her company is like, you're not. You're getting fired because what else? 2 employees recently reported her for calling them fucking bitches, stating an employee that had only been hired because she had big boobs, and making racist comments. She's also been cited for gross misconduct. Another report says that Rolf said to somebody, I don't see color, but some people are idiots, and told another employee that she was a dumb bitch and that the only reason a man would be interested in her is because she must suck dick real good. She said this shit at work.
You should not say that stuff to anyone, especially at work, especially when you're HR. Oh my God.
Yes. So all of this stuff happened before her shitty stepson murdered Rayshard Brooks. She got fired, and then she went on Tucker Carlson to talk about cancel culture and how, like, cancel culture has gone too far and da-da-da-da-da. And of course Tucker, like, was up in arms, like, believing, like, didn't bother to fact check, nothing.
Also, like, it's only cancel culture if you have any sort of, like, platform to be canceled on.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just canceled for being a bitch, Melissa.
Yeah. So she would like to pretend that she got fired for supporting her shitty stepson. She got fired for being racist and sexist and gross at work.
Wow, she has been training for these oppression Olympics for decades, I bet. This is her moment.
Yeah. And also just like not shocked that she would raise a son who like had enough internalized racism to like not view Rayshard Brooks as enough of a human to like I don't know. He took his taser. It discharged twice. After tasers discharged twice, they're useless. So like people are always like, "Oh, he had a weapon." He had a thing in his hand that was like more of a tripping hazard because it had already been discharged. So like that was their justification for shooting him because he had their taser, but it wasn't. It had already been discharged twice, so it didn't matter. So not that it matters anyway. Just that's that case. So these are all tied together, unfortunately, by Republican congressional candidate and QAnon conspiracy theorist Marjorie Taylor Green from Georgia. So she immediately started posting on social media about how unfair it was for Melissa to get fired for supporting her murderer stepson. She has gained notoriety for her embrace of QAnon. Facebook even removed several of her advertisements for making violent threats against Black Lives Matter protests. Like, it's hard to get stuff removed from Facebook. Like, it's hard to remove, or it's hard to violate their policies. She managed to do it.
Especially with, like, conservative stuff. Like, you're a lot more likely to get a Facebook mute for saying men are trash or white people are boring than you are for saying that you want to shoot protesters or something.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great.
Yeah. So she came out to support Melissa, of course, because I don't know, those kind of people are attracted to each other.
Birds
Who knows?
of a feather.
They find each other. Yeah. So I don't know. I just can't believe the audacity to be just that shitty of a person and then try and pretend like you're being fired for not being a shitty person and employee. So this is just, I don't know, not surprising to me. Her old workplace accuses Rolfe and congressional candidate Green of organizing a smear campaign against the company, resulting in death threats, a boycott, and enormous reputational and financial harm to the company, which is like kind of true. Like, they came out and alleged that she was fired for like in a retaliatory way when she like wasn't at all. I mean, yeah. So none of it is true. She's just exploiting the concept of cancel culture to cover up actual wrongdoing. The word she's actually looking for are consequences. Like, cancel culture doesn't exist. Like, the word you're looking for is consequences. So this I don't know. Just the simple story presented on Tucker Carlson was really reductive and misleading, which is why Fox in general can't be trusted. It's not news. They don't bother to fact check stuff. Like, all of this was fact checked in that Judd Legum popular information newsletter that I subscribe to. But like, that takes work. Like, Tucker Carlson is not interested in that. Like, he's interested in making a bunch of old white people very, very mad. So he doesn't need to look into whether Melissa Rolfe actually had a shit ton of complaints about her and was actually fired for being sexist and misogynist and making really crazily, weirdly sexual comments at work. Like, it's already done. It's done for him. Like, the rest of the people are like learning now, like, how ridiculous it is. But like, the people who listen to Tucker Carlson have like, it's done its job. It's pissed them off. They've moved on. Doesn't matter. It's dangerous and it's stupid. And I hate Fox News. But yeah, that's why other places aren't covering it, because it's not true and they have journalistic standards. Like, I'm tired of hearing people be like, nope, why isn't anyone talking about this? It's like, Tucker, because it's garbage.
Yeah. Generally, if you see something that's like, the media won't tell you this, but it means it's untrue.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not talking about it. Because
the media doesn't want to mislead you.
Not true. Like,
yeah. So I just wanted to bring it up because the the concept of cancel culture is being used to argue that like protests for racial and social justice have gone too far because they've created like a new set of moral attitudes and political commitments that tend to weaken our norms of debate and toleration of differences in favor of ideological conformity. Like, we are told that institutional leaders in a spirit of panic damage control are like hastily and giving disproportionate punishments instead of like considered reforms. But like, that's not what's going on. Many people are treated unfairly, but there's little evidence, or no, if any, that unfair treatment is now disproportionately impacting like supporters of the police rather than minority groups, or QAnon believers rather than minority groups. Like, free speech is a bedrock, like it's a bedrock principle of American democracy, but free speech is not inconsistent with being held accountable for your words and actions.
I don't understand why people want to feel like they're being oppressed so much. Like, you are not that important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also I feel like cancel culture, it started like ironically on Twitter. Like, it was like, you know, Bill Cosby is canceled or whatever because he's shitty. Like, and now people are like, oh my God, I'm being canceled.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up. No, you're not. Like, literally, you cannot just be like canceled. If your platform is being canceled, it's probably because it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are fired for your job, that's not being canceled. That's being incompetent.
And if like a friend is calling you out, it's not, they're inviting you to be better.
Yeah.
You're not being canceled.
That's so stupid.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
So I would like to nominate whoever Q is for our asshole of the week, because whoever it is, they're like causing actual harm. Like, it could be a bored college kid trolling, or it could be Cozy Bear from Russia's Internet Research Agency, and it doesn't matter. Like, the result is the same. It's like it's trickling into our literal Congress now. So I don't know. I wish I had like a more hopeful note to end up. I guess the hopeful part is that, like, for real, most people don't know what QAnon is. Even most Trump supporters don't know what QAnon is. Like, but I don't know. It's real.
Yeah, and also, like, the fact that some people, like, so many people don't know what it is almost makes it dangerous in the hands of people like Trump supporters who are gonna see something like QAnon and not think, like, okay, well, that means I shouldn't listen to whatever dumbassery is happening right now. Like, they're gonna see it and have no idea that that means, like, just don't stop paying attention now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
even so. One of my like local Illinois races that I hope I hope Danny Brzezowski wins over Adam Kinzinger in Illinois' maybe 16th district. I can't remember, but we like Danny Brzezowski. But even Adam Kinzinger, who is a very shitty Republican, like, he has a statement on QAnon about how there's no place for it in government. Like, there even are Adam Kinzinger is a Trump supporting Republican who does not like QAnon. So they're like, even QAnon is too much for even some Trump supporters. But I guess that's a little bit hopeful that even like somebody like that sees through it right away.
Right, because there are people that support Trump just because they're so like blindly loyal to the ideology of the political party of which Donald Trump is currently identifying himself as a Republican. Like, and that's not right or good, but like, there is a difference between those kinds of Trump supporters and the kind of people who are Trump supporters because they've drank in the QAnon Kool-Aid, and they think that Trump is going to save 189,000 children from sex trafficking. Like,
right. Yes. All right. So let's get into political actions, which is a little bit more positive. By the time you hear this, I should have text banked on Tuesday. I will give you an update next week about how that went. We're recording this 8 days early for the first time ever. This should be coming out in time for people to register for. I think this will probably be your last chance to register for trivia on August 29th for Jeb Andraka. It also might be the last opportunity for you to sign up to write letters with us with Swing Left and Gaslit Nation on September 2nd. So both of those registrations are in our link tree. We also signed up last minute for a trivia game with Sister District Sacramento for Christine Morse, who's running for Wisconsin House in the Kalamazoo area. And we are very pleased to report we came in second this time.
Yeah, we did really well. And we probably should have been first, but...
Okay, that's actually true.
Yeah.
We got gypped on the last round. We only got 7. So I think we got like 10 points, 9 points, 10 points, and then 7 points. And we lost by 1 point.
Yeah. And like,
but
we definitely had two of those answers.
Yeah, we should have gotten 9 points on that. You know what? It doesn't matter. We know
fine.
In our hearts.
We're competitive people, so sometimes we get a little like...
Oh, speaking of that, and I thought of you immediately, but I think this will probably apply to other people, especially former athletes. With Invisitext, so there's lots of Invisitext trainings that you can sign up for anytime. It's about an hour, and it was extremely well run. I will put a link to their calendar of trainings in our link tree too. So that calendar has like actual text banking shifts. So the one that I did on Tuesday was in that calendar, but it also has the trainings on that calendar. So they're both in there. You can go there whenever you want to sign up for a shift. But apparently the more shifts you do and the more people you text, the like higher your rank gets. And like you don't need to get approved to send your, like, I think in the beginning somebody has to look over your text and be like, yeah, that sounds good. And like you don't really write anything. Like all of the, there's like this flow chart that's like, hey, are you going to support so and so? And it's like, did they say yes? Say this. Did they say no? Say this. Did they say maybe? Did they say yes, I already support them? Then ask if they want a phone bank. Like there's so many options. I haven't done it yet. Well, I guess by the time you're listening to this you have, but I'll give you an update. Oh, but what? We were talking about trivia. How did I get...
because it's competitive. You can like track your text success.
Yes. So...
I shouldn't just say
I
success.
Could see
I
that.
should say participation.
Yeah. So I don't know. I could see myself getting into that and just being like, I need to get to the next level.
Yeah. I think that I like that.
Yeah.
I'm still a supporter of things like gamification and education. Sure. And I think that you can definitely apply those same principles to volunteering and political activism and pretty much anything else that you're doing in your life, which makes it more fun. Yeah, exactly. And if things are fun, you're more likely to do them. You're more likely to stick with them, have success at them, and just like generally enjoy your life, which we could all use right now because it's still 2020 and everything is still bad.
Absolutely. And we keep getting like, I'm surprised there haven't been like locusts here yet.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
Sorry.
I shouldn't say everything is bad though. I know that you have some successful, happy kitty stories.
I do.
So
I have maybe like my favorite one yet. So every Monday I join my Indivisible group and I do an hour or an hour and a half of letter writing for Vote Forward, also in our link tree. You need a printer for that though. So that is over Zoom. So a woman from my Indivisible Zoom group, her sister who lives in Pennsylvania has been joining and writing letters for us because why not? Anybody can join. If anybody else wants to join, you're welcome to come, I think. But my foster kittens have been just like bopping around in the back of my Zoom meetings. And like, I usually make a joke about like, all right, who's going to adopt them? And this, my friend's sister, I mean, I can probably just call her my friend also. Her name is Katie. We've been joking that like, she really does want cats, but she lives so far away. Like she lives in Pittsburgh. Like, what are we going to do? But my kittens got neutered last week. Katie just happened to be visiting her sister Abby this week. And Abby shot me a text and was like, are your kittens adoptable? And I was like, yeah, they fucking are. And it just worked out. Like everything worked. We texted with the shelter. Like they were cool with them being taken to Pennsylvania as long as like I signed off on Abby being a good cat parent. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's fine. And they picked them up the other day. Abby sent me a couple pictures. I guess like her 3 kids with her sister's 2 kids, like couldn't get enough of them. Like they constantly wanted to snuggle with them. And yesterday they started the trek from like Pennsylvania, or started the trek to Pennsylvania. And Abby said like 2 of her 3 kids just like sobbed when they left because they were such big fans of the kittens. No. So 2 of them got adopted. One of them is getting adopted, I think on Thursday. But sometime before that, we will probably even be getting a new litter of weaned 6-week-old kittens. So we'll start the process all over again. So I'm excited to pick them up. That'll be the next couple days. By the time you're listening to this, I'll have some new kittens in my life.
It's so fun and exciting.
I know.
Love it.
What about you? Do you have any fun updates?
I have a pair of roller skates now.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So I haven't taken them out yet as of this recording. Hopefully by the time the episode's released, I have. I've just skated around the house on them so far, and it's so scary, but also like fun, and I'm very excited. So that's my like physical activity / mental health self-care is heading out on some roller skates.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting and fun. So I am just really gonna be enjoying that for a little while, at least while the weather's still good. Got a few more months of some solid Iowa weather.
For sure. Yeah. If you did it inside, like how did your pets take that?
Well, my little mutt Abby, she was like, what's that? What's going on here? Okay, well, please don't fall. And my golden retriever was thoroughly freaked out and ran away and wouldn't come near me. And then my cat...
People aren't meant to roll.
Yeah, people aren't supposed to roll. My cat had very similar, like, you should not be rolling. The fact that you're moving that way tells me you're not you anymore. Yeah. And she hissed at me. And she's like, she never hisses, especially not at me. Yeah. So I like skated over to her and was like, Peaches. And she was just like, no, go away. This isn't you. I don't know what's going on here. So clearly they're not going to also be getting any roller skates because they're just not real into it. Although, can you imagine how adorable a dog on roller skates would be?
What if we started with a skateboard?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how to teach my dog how to skateboard because I don't know how to skateboard.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to learn skateboarding as an adult?
No. I need to be like bubble wrapped fully. Like I couldn't put enough protective gear on to get me to do that.
I would break every bone in my body.
Like my shins hurt just thinking about it.
If somebody makes a big enough donation, I will record myself attempting to ride a skateboard.
Donation to what?
A political candidate.
Yeah, prove that you donate to literally anything that we've talked about at the end of any of our shows, and you'll do what now?
Even resist by. I will attempt to ride a skateboard.
Nice.
Which
nice.
It's got to be terrible. Like I can roller skate around my house, and that is the extent of me on wheels. So,
like children, their bones can handle like the force that comes with just like wrecking yourself on a skateboard. I don't think I would ever recover. No.
Can we talk about how like when you fall down as an adult, you need to call like EMS? I mean, it's literally traumatizing. And I fell 2 years ago on a run, and my neck and back still sometimes hurt from it. I mean, what is going on with that? Whereas like when I was 5, I literally jumped out of a tree just because I was like, I should see what happens when I do this. And I jumped out of a tree and it hit the ground and I was like, oof.
Nothing really.
That was it. I just said, oof. Like I cannot handle
now
like being an adult is painful.
I'm gonna need an IV. I'm gonna need like some IV Dilaudid over here, please. I don't want to be able to feel my back or my legs.
Yeah, please start a GoFundMe.
Yeah. That's why haven't we been doing this earlier? I'll do something ridiculous, maybe even dangerous for $100.
Yeah, donate $100.
If you donate it to the right person, to Resist Bot or something.
Yeah, sure. And we'll do something that's going to result in a hospital.
You tell us. I mean, we'll agree. We'll have to obviously agree and consent to it, but I don't know why we haven't been doing this before.
Also, like, it's got to be at least like it's got to be safe for work.
Clearly. And also for pandemics.
Yeah, I'm not going streaking on camera.
No.
Anyway, so.
No.
Anyway.
All right. Well, that was honestly one of our shorter episodes. We did pretty good.
I don't know how we do it.
We're getting better at this.
Yep. Go us.
All right. So we will talk to you guys next week. And in the meantime, stay sexy.
And don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening to For Your Misinformation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you like it, give us a rating and a review. It helps us find more listeners, and the more of us there are, the better.
And make sure you're following along on Instagram and Twitter at FYMI Pod.
Shout out to Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, Hope Dye for the podcast art, and Ben Schlofelt for the audio production.
We come out with new episodes every Monday.